how do you handle the research which goes into it when you're handling sacred themes while also building suspense?
So across all the domains, when you're writing book is a very kind of a 4D chess because you have to make it engaging, you have to make it a page turner. You have to write in a way that people are talking about it once they finish it. Once they finish, they want to go back to it. And then writing a murder mystery on top of it is like 8D chess because you also want to make sure that it's a page turner. The reveal is a big reveal. People are happy about the reveal. Also, at any point of time, the people should not be able to second guess what the suspense is, right? And then on top of it, you add the mythological part to it as well. So of course, like it's a huge project in itself when we write books about like murder mysteries related to mythology. There is of course like a certain mythology which has been up there, baked there. We cannot change it. So you have to take references from it. You cannot just create your own mythology, especially the famous mythology. So of course, like there's a lot of research work. If I were to talk about it, I could write another book about it. But one thing that I always make sure is that in my books, they often take you to certain cities and certain temples, like Kamakya temple or temples in Kashi, temples in Prayagraj, to Tirupati, right? It often takes you to all these temples during this. What I do is that I always make it a point to travel to these places for 3 days. I do actually go to the temples for a couple of hours because I want to visit the deity. But then I also talk to the folklores around them, people around them. Because when these temples were constructed, these were the people whose ancient people's like ancestors were living, right? So to get the same tale from their mouth adds another zing to it. And then when I go back and pen it, I write it not from the history perspective, but from these people's perspective. I went to Kaling, and talked to the people there who talked about how big the Kaling War was, and they actually mentioned a line that the river turned red because of the blood. And then I use the same line because this line is something that you will, of course, like when you read from a perspective of history, it adds a lot of things. But when they talked about how the murders were done, like how the war was fought, how the people were killed, and how the river turned red, that adds another layer of spice and zing to the story. So that is one thing that I always do. Take out like 2 or 3 days, visit these places, talk to the people around the temples, and then get the story out from their perspective. And that's what makes these stories interesting.